Thank you.
So I guess I'll take partially correct. You know, listen, I come at this from a different perspective. I ran a manufacturing plant for 30 years. We supplied the medical device industry. We had all kinds of quality audits. We had, quality systems in place. You know, I understand them. And there is a point of diminishing returns here, too. You have somebody check the quality control person, and who's going to check the checker? And then who's going to check the checker of the checker? So, again, you had to put in reasonable systems. I appreciate the questioning of my colleagues trying to find out, okay, what do these inspectors do? I'll drill down a little bit further. First of all, I would think FAA would rely on the fact that we've got these inspectors walking around. If there's really a problem, you would hope Boeing employees would come up to an inspector and mention something. First of all, does that happen quite frequently?
I think the sense is that they have felt unwilling to do that. So working on that change so they feel more welcome to do that, which is why we've given them multiple outlets to do it.
Do you know of instances of retaliation against Boeing employees when they've approached FAA inspector?
I don't know of specific incidents, no.
Do you get the sense that currently at Boeing there's a hostility toward FAA inspectors or a sense of cooperation or something between that?
I suspect you might find all of those range of reactions, but our inspectors are reporting that they're finding a cooperative attitude, but they're primarily focused on understanding what's going on the floor and talking to employees.
Is there a difference in general attitude between manufacturing sites? I mean, is one of the manufacturing sites better? Are they coming up to speed quicker? Are they engaging in that cultural change quicker than others?
The only thing I can comment on that is this comprehensive plan has rolled out with the 737 on those particular sites, but it is now being rolled out in all of the lines as well to cover all their models.
How many different inspections are there, let's say, on a particular airliner? Do you have any idea?
So the 737 has almost 1,600 inspections in the quality inspections in the manufacturing process.
So how many of those would be 100% inspection versus like some kind of statistical sampling?
I can come back to you with that information.
Is that something the FAA agrees on with Boeing? Is that something you discuss?
It is part of the quality plan that Boeing puts together, and we do review that plan.
Do you basically agree with it at this point in time?
They have added about 30% more inspection points over the last couple of years, so we do agree with that, yes.
Okay. I mean, that's the way the system's it has to work. I mean, you can't have layer after layer after layer. At some point in time, you have to rely on a system, and really the proof's in the pudding. One of the things I was disappointed with the airline CEOs not coming in here, again, I wanted somebody to talk about the safety record. Again, I don't have the stats in front of me, but it always seemed like there were, these airline disasters occurred in threes. I mean, we literally have not had an airline disaster in quite some time. And other than really the 737 MAX, which I want to get into. I mean, do you have the safety stats? Can you spout those off to us today? Or?
As far as major air accidents?
Yeah, passenger safety per traveled mile. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything close to airline travel, is there?
No, I think in the U.S. it's been about 15 years since a major U.S. accident.
But again, just miles traveled, it's the safest way to go.
Yeah.
You're a lot safer in an airplane than you are in a car.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning that the airlines have been engaging more with Boeing. Many of them have put inspectors in the plant, so they also have inspectors walking the floor.
That's what I wanted to hear from the airline industry. Now, what are you doing to check your supplier? What are you doing in terms of your maintenance? Again, I still encourage them to come forward. Yep. The goal of this is to help Boeing succeed and restore confidence in the traveling public. I do want to cover the 737, the MCAS system, because I still don't understand that. I mean, you had the Lion Air crash in October 2018. 4.5 months later, you had the Ethiopian crash. Having read this in hindsight, it seemed like that MCAS system was a real challenge, and people knew that it was an issue, correct?
So I, of course, wasn't there at the time, but I have had to do a fair amount of digging into that, and I know it's been very well investigated, and I think the consensus is that Boeing withheld important safety information from the FAA during the certification process. And
So
had that
let me-
been,
Okay, again, you weren't there, so you're not going to get blamed for this. Do you think the FAA was not aggressive enough or firm enough? Was there too cozy a relationship? Was this industry capture of a regulatory agency that Boeing felt they could withhold that information?
my understanding was it was a deliberate withholding of information, so there's no indication that anyone at FAA had knowledge of it.
I understand they didn't have knowledge of it, but again, was that because there's just too cozy a relationship that Boeing
that's
thought
not my-
they could get away with it?
Not my impression.
So what has changed now? Because they still are employing the MCAS system, correct?
So the MCAS system went through a number of technical changes, and I think the big change was pilot training because the pilots were unaware of how this system operated.
That MCAS system basically caused those airlines to nosedive, right? And one of the reasons they didn't have one of the indicators, I mean, those airliners cut some corners, and they ordered their planes with only one of these, was it airspeed indicator? I mean, one of the indicators, correct?
Angle of attack indicator and best practices would have been to have a redundant system in manufacture, yes.
So now that's required, correct?
Yes.
Has there been an upgrade to the software itself significant so that the training is easier, so it doesn't rely so much on, again, this is kind of what's it stand for? Mechanical, I wrote it down here somewhere. But it's really about an automated system. I mean, an automated system that requires extensive pilot training to prevent it from nosediving into the ground. It's not a very good automated system. I mean, have they improved that thing?
Well, I don't have great detail on that. I understand there were software updates, redundant systems on the angle of attack indicator, and extensive pilot training.
Well, I'll point it out to you, to Boeing, to the airlines. I would like to understand this, seeing as I fly these things quite a bit. I still don't understand it. I still don't understand what they did to give me the complete confidence going, okay, they have this totally fixed. So I would like that if you could,
We can
do that
provide
from
you
the
with-
FAA's perspective, kind of lay it out for us, issue a report.
Yeah.
Again, the goal here is to provide the confidence to the public because we've actually corrected these problems, and we agree that these problems have been corrected.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.